Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Wherever you are in the world today, I hope that you are doing great. Hope that all is pleasant for you. And most importantly, my friends, I hope that you are in good health. Once again, welcome to the Common Sense channel. On this channel, my friends, we get to talk about those things that people know, that people have thought about, but don't often have the time to discuss. These are the things we discuss here on the Common Sense channel. So, once again, welcome to our talk for today. Today, we want to talk about the evil of disinformation. We all know most people didn't even know for a long while, except those wise ones that understand that there's something called disinformation. Some people call it, I think most of you have heard this. Some people call it divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. The main architect of divide and conquer is disinformation. That's why in most countries, when they're trying to, whoever is trying to overthrow a government, it could be externally, it could be internally, the first thing that they do is disinformation. Get the people riled up, get the people upset, make things difficult in the minds of the media, in the minds of public sector, in the minds of the economy, in the minds of business. And then once all of these elements are in place, and then that's when they go for the kill. And the elements that are used most of the time are disinformation. It can be internally, it could be member of the same government or member of the same political party that will engage in this disinformation. It don't have to always be the government. It can always be the opposition party within the government. That was the same case for the great Gaddafi. I'll call him the great, because anyone that cares about the people of his country or her country, that's a great leader. You don't often see that in our world today. Let me tell you, greatness is not made. Greatness is born. You understand? There are people that are born great in their entire life. If you're wise enough, you might be able to see it by the time they're a little child. And that's why parents must be very, very, how they call it? The parents must pay attention to the children. When the children are growing up, you have to capture the greatness of your child when they are little. Because if you don't see it, someone will see it. And whoever sees it will exploit them, will use them for their own good. You understand? So people who are smart, and I tell you, there are great teachers out there. I think teachers are one of the people that can see greatness in a child. Yes. Why do you think they have those intelligent programs for kids who are just super intelligent in school? Because the first people that notice these things are the teachers. Yeah. Now, I've had many teachers in my life that try to direct me to that try to show me the way. Because the teacher can see it. Now, if you're wise parents, you can see greatness too. And then when you see it, don't hesitate to get involved in your child's life. This is just an advice from the Common Sense channel. And that's why when you see greatness, you must embrace it, you must encourage it, and you must support it. But when disinformation comes along, it tries to capture that greatness because, like they say, Bob Marley says, you must kill them before they grow. Say, kill it before they grow. And in that song, he says, we're gonna chase those crazy bald heads out of town. We're gonna chase those crazy bald heads out of town. Yeah, you know. So in that song, and most people are not listening, he's talking about those people in our world that are spreading disinformation to control the minds of the masses in a specific direction. So I think the greatest evil of our world, take it from the Common Sense channel, is disinformation. You can find disinformation in families. You can find disinformation in communities of other people that don't look like them, that don't behave like them, that don't react like them, that don't talk like them. And now the entire society is divided over something that it could coalesce around, over something that could unite them. But because someone saw the greatness of that community and would do whatever it takes to divide them, spreading disinformation. So I tell you this, when you get up in the morning and whenever you see that breaking news come on your gadget, I say gadget for a specific reason because gadgets are not only cell phones, they could be your tablet, they could be your TV, they could be any portable devices that you're able to put in your pocket, that you're able to carry it around with you. Anytime you see breaking news on that, do not jump to conclusion, my fellow friends or viewers. Please do your research. If you live in this country, especially now with everything that's happening in our world, most of the things that are happening, they are man-made. And it's always been this way, you know? And I tell you, one of the biggest disinformation corporate, I'll call them corporate, are religious, organized religion. Why? Because organized religion tells us that there is an entity called Satan, the devil. Satan and the devil, that's a disinformation right there. Why is that? Why is it a disinformation? Because the devil or Satan or Lucifer or whatever you want to call it doesn't exist. Yes, does not exist. What exists, my friends or viewers, is human beings, or I can say are human beings. Humans are responsible for humanly problems. Humans are the ones that spread disinformation, aka lies. You understand? So that's the evil. Because here's the evil of disinformation. There are people that have medical problems. There are people that have medical problems that shouldn't have no stress, that shouldn't be that should not hear informations that are not good. You understand? And they're in our world. So if they hear something like someone is planning to attack this country, and it could be like tomorrow, today, anytime, do you know what that was sent to them? Do you know the message that was sent to them? And do you know the effect? So that's evil. and lies are evil, whether you like it or not. For those organized religious people, you know, your book says all the liars are going to your makeshift hell or your make-believe hell. And I've always said, if this place is real, then why you do what you do? Why you lie? Why you cheat? Why you deceive people? Why you spread out disinformation about an entity that doesn't exist? An entity that you say make people do what they don't want to do. No one make anyone do what they don't want to do if they don't want to do it. If I don't want to do something, you can't make me do it. You have to even if you put a gun to my head, I won't do it. And let me tell you, history is going to remember me for that because I stood on principles. I stood my ground. I stood on ethics. And let me tell you, you will never find, there's not many human beings on the planet that will stand on ethics, even if it's going to cost them their lives. It's going to cost them their livelihood. Not many people on our planet will stand and say, I will not spread your disinformation. I will not mislead my fellow humans or my fellow citizen or my fellow people. I will not do that. I will not mislead my nation with your lies, even if you pay me $1 billion or $1 trillion. There are human beings on this planet that are willing to forgo all based on principles and based on what is right, even in the midst of disinformation. And that's the thing we don't pay attention to. You know, um, I when I first came to this country, and I've always say I know that America is a great country. Why is that? Because America has always tried to fix itself. Not many countries can do that in this world. You know, America knows something is wrong and they try to fix it. And that's the greatness of a country. Any country that sees that there's a problem, whether it has to do with racism, whether it has to do with community issues, whether it has to do with global issue, whether it has to do with the economy, whether it has to do with healthcare, anything that has to do with life or the living condition of the people, America has always been trying step day after the other, month after the other, week after the other. I'm sorry for saying it backward. But America has always tried to make this character, this I like to say illusion or this project better. How many countries you see that? Because America knows the history, that this country has a history and keep trying to make it better. But again, in the midst of making it better, there are these elements within the framework of the project that America is working on that are constantly bringing back the country to the dark time and bringing the country, preventing the country from moving forward. So these individuals are almost like hijackers. They're hijacking the progress of this country. And what does that, my friend? Are disinformation. When someone can come and tell you the reason why you're poor or the reason why you don't have what you have, it's because of that person that came from Guatemala or that person that came from Ecuador or that person that came from Tunisia or Morocco or Togo or Benin. my friends, that right there is disinformation. Because what it does, it creates a buffer zone between you and that person. It's disinformation, it's evil. So whenever America moves forward, something always bring it back. When Obama was elected, everyone in this country, not only in this country, the whole world saw the project of America as progressive, as moving into a new dimension, a change for the world, a change in the image of America. I like to say America. You understand? Everyone was excited with America, for America, including the enemies too. Because the enemies, you don't just create enemies. Enemies don't just come from the ground or just metastasize or just grow up in like a cancer in your body. No. Enemies are born based on your reaction, what you do. Religious people say Satan exists. I said Satan doesn't exist. Religious people says the devil exists. I say it doesn't exist. I says those two elements or one element are illusion of their imagination. You understand? But what I do know, that whatever you do in this life either create good reaction for you or bad reaction. Enemies are created. You understand? An enemy are born. So is your reaction. If you react good to people, if you behave kind to people, you respect their culture, you respect where they're from, you respect everything about them, you see them as a human beings, and you treat them as such, they will do the same. But when you treat them as less than a human being, that's how enemies are born. I said the last time that there's no such thing as friends. Friends doesn't exist. What exists are enemies and competitors. And because human beings are inherently or genetically designed to compete with others, we are constantly competing with each other and don't even know it. Sometimes we do and sometimes we don't. If you're a student, you're in school, there's a student in class that's constantly doing better. Every now and then they have like hundreds. They're smart, they're popular, they're just brilliant. You understand? And you're struggling. After a while, you start to create resentment. Now, your resentment can be positive or your resentment can be negative. So, for some people, that student is doing better. That will be like a motivation for them to do better. For some student, that would be a point where they just hit you. You understand? This is natural. It's a natural thing. Now, but if that smart student gets up and say, you know what, I'm doing well, I understand this subject, let me try to help others get to where I am or show them what I know so all of us can be better. If that student start to do that, there will be some resentment or some dislike. I don't want to use the word hate because it's a strong word, but it's not going to be higher because maybe it may not even be there because the person is reaching out to lift others that are down. And let me tell you, there are human beings in this world that would do that, to bring others to their standard and do it with love. You understand? And in the midst of all of those students feeling resentment towards that intelligent student, and not alienating them and not malign them, because the alienation and the malignment, all of these things are disinformation. And you find that you can take this scenario and place it in the job site. You come to job every day. You are just quick on your feet. There are people that you don't need to show them much. You just show them and then bam, bam, bam. They like that. They pick it up. And there are those ones that are, they take they will get it, but it's a process for them. Those ones are easier to accept or to be acceptable or susceptible to disinformation. And now you're in the job, you think you're doing good, and you're like, who do you think you are? Who does he think he is? He just come in here all of a sudden, or she just walking all of a sudden acting like a boss. It's not you. It's just the way you process things. And people don't understand them. You understand? So I'm just telling you the genesis of disinformation, how it happened. Now, every culture is different. And I will say it again. What makes us different from each other is not the color of our skin. Again, the color of your skin, that's also disinformation. When someone says to you the reason why you're behind, the reason why your race is not where your race is supposed to be, is because of the color of your skin. It's not true. It's not true. You understand? I'm going to say it again. Whether you want to believe it, whether you want to accept it or not, that's your business. But I know this to be fact based on what I see, based on empirical evidence, that the color of your skin has nothing to do with your condition. The color of your skin has nothing to do with what you achieve or what you will be. What has a lot to do with you, and this is where the Almighty did not make a mistake, it's the way you think. The way you think as a people, the way you think as a community, the way you think as a nation, the way you think as a society, the way you think as a culture, a race of people. That's your diversity. That's your diversity, my friend. That's what makes you different from other people, from other race, from other culture. Now, when say for instance, your community decide to come together to do something tangible, something good that will benefit everyone in that community, and all of you are thinking like-minded, all of you are on the same page, on the same track, moving in the same direction, there's nothing to stop you. Nothing, absolutely nothing. You will achieve what you want to achieve when you start to think like-minded, likewise, like others, to bring about development. Now, in the midst of that problem, or in the midst of that situation, in the midst of that solution to your problem, to your development, to your growth as an individual, as a community, and as a nation, there is always those who are always on the sideline. And their job, my friends, is to disrupt. Again, it's not the devil. It's not Satan. These individuals are human beings like you. They are flesh and blood and spirit. And these ones are the disruptor. There's not many of them in our world. but their sole purpose in life. And the reason why it exists in time is because they keep having children. And the children comes into this world and they breed these things and they teach them. You may not never know them. You may not ever see them, but they exist. They are the ones, my friends, with control. These individuals that I'm talking about, the disinformation evils, they they're not obsessed with power. Power is for the weak. You understand? Like people like our president and other world leaders out there in our world today, these people only have power. Yeah, President Trump only has power. President Putin only has power. Um, President of China only have power. European leaders only have power. The entities that run this world, they don't care about power. They only care about control. Control is the ultimate power. It supersedes what this leader has. They have power, they don't have control. Give the poor man a power. If you ever work in a company where they make someone your supervisor and he comes, he says something, he may say something like, dude, you have to just all over you. And you try to do something, but nothing happens. They just in your case, tell you what to do. Even try to control your timing too, like how when you can start work, when you're supposed to be there. Control everything that you do. That's power. Again, I use the word control, but it's a common thing. But power, for them to tell you do this, do that, even though you're doing it, but they're just obsessed with this, like to tell you what to do. That's power. Control is the one that's overpowered. And those who spread disinformation, they have control. They control the way you think, the message you consume, because people just think you only consume food. You don't only consume food. You don't only consume water. You don't only consume air. You also consume information. You consume technology. You consume all of those things that you don't have control over. So those people that spread disinformation, they, my friends, has control over these things. They even have control over the leaders that you appoint. They only give them power. These people are appointees. The people that have control, they are the ones that appoint these people. So whatever information they want out there, for instance, the media only have power. And power has limitations. And the media comes out there, they say things like whoever is controlling them want them to say. And some of them that don't have integrity, that don't stand on principles, that has no morals, that are willing to sell themselves for anything, they'll go by it. They'll do whatever because they have a job, and that job pays. Especially in this country, you need a job to almost survive. Like someone can just ruin your life just like this, and now you're out there. If you're not careful, you can be homeless like tomorrow. That's control. It's not power, it's control. You know, so you almost have to be careful. And that's why when I come on my channel, I've done numerous videos where I say America is not a democracy. You know, I've been saying this stuff since I was in high school. And some kids were like, I used to go to the debate club and we just used to debate, and then we used to talk about stuff. And I remember I used to debate on this, America is not a democracy. And some kids like, why you say that? You know, you wasn't even born here. Why are you talking about America in that way? And I say, I don't have to be born here because I see something that you don't see. I see it. You don't see it because you're blinded. You know, and I'm trying to open your eyes so you can see, you know, because the thing is, people don't see these things, you know, and that's why on my channel you find me, I talk about different topic. I don't talk about trending topic. I may infuse one or two things in there, but most of the time I talk about the things I want to talk about because I know it's futuristic. So when I say democracy doesn't exist, and I know one day everyone in this country or in this world are gonna see it, it doesn't. It's just an illusion, you know, until you wake up one morning and you start to see that there's nothing called majority rule. Mm-mm. Yeah, there's always those that have, again, control. And those ones are the ones, even democracy is a disinformation strategy too. You know, democracy is a disinformation strategy. Religion is organized religion. It's a disinformation strategy because human beings don't need to be told that there's a God. You can see the thing. We don't need to be told that there's a place called heaven or hell. We know heaven and hell is here. You know, whatever you do here, you're going to get your judgment here. Your heaven is the way you live. You're living a good life here. That's your heaven. You understand? That's why the early Egyptians, they were putting all their earthly things in their grave with them. You understand? When they die, they put everything that they ever owned here, because that's how they want to live in the afterlife. You understand? So they understood that. So if they understood that, why don't you understand the same? You understand? So these are all, democracy is an illusion. It's not only an illusion, it's also a disinformation too. If you never heard this anywhere, I'm telling you now. So there are a lot of things that are disinformation that has nothing to do with your reality, but they're just there to lead you in a direction that whoever has control is trying to lead you to. And that's why I keep, sometimes we'll do this video and let you see them. Because until you see them, you wouldn't believe. And even if someone tells you the truth about something, because you still won't believe it because you're programmed. There are a lot of people, our world is programmed. Imagine you raise a child from the time the child is born. The child knows that they're inferior. You tell them you are inferior, you are inferior, you are inferior, you are inferior. You will amount to nothing. You will amount to nothing. And then all of a sudden, someone wise comes in the picture, just like the Garden of Eden comes in the picture and try to teach you that whatever they told you is disinformation. That's what it is. Disinformation is simply a lie. And then when the truth comes into the picture, it makes the lie looks ugly. And the lies don't want to look ugly. That's why if you look in our country today, you see the government is doing whatever they can to prevent certain outlet from not even saying the truth. Because the truth is what comes and disrupt the disinformation. Because disinformation it's not new. It's been around forever. And that's the one that's dividing us. That's the ones that's separating us. That's the one that's coming and pulling us apart from each other. But if you look at us, humanity, humans, You can be in any part of this world, and let me tell you, find someone that thinks just like you. They can be in Southeast Asia. They can be in South Asia. They can be in South America. They can be in Africa. They can be here in North America. And you'll find so much in common with them. And the commonality is the way you think. Look at parts of Africa now, places like Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. Why are they on the news? Because that culture right there, they are thinking different. And they found out that it all shares the same thinking process. But now the disinformation elements of that society is there. And they are willing to destroy everything. And that's what was happening. The God in the Bible was spreading disinformation to Adam and Eve. It was disinformation. And then when the truth came into the garden in the form of their Satan or Lucifer or the devil, it was the truth that makes it way. And every society must have someone in there that are willing to stand on the truth. Because the only thing that can destroy disinformation is the truth. So whenever the government comes out with lies, someone must always be there to stand on the truth. They may not like it. They may come after you. For those of you who believe in democracy, freedom of speech, I believe in freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is a natural right. It don't have to be guaranteed by a president or a country or a constitution. Every human beings that are born into this world are born with these natural rights to speak your mind, to say how you think, how you feel. You know? But what makes you, and this is my argument all the time, that we are living, we are gods. As long as we're born with this right to speak our mind, to think the way we want to think, to say the way we think, these are natural rights. But because human beings are responsible for earthly things, and human beings are responsible for everything that has to do with this universe and beyond, controls these rights. Disinformation is the ultimate evil. And that's what plaguing our world. But only the righteous people, the good ones. You see today, there are people out there that were once part of the organized religious, how do you call it? Religious brainwashing thing. This brainwashing the society with disinformation. These individuals have found the light. And you see some of them, if you don't take it from my video now, you see a lot of them on social media, and they're trying to teach people, say, no, this is wrong. Go this way. Another such human being was Dr. Ray Hagan. I respect Dr. Ray Hagan so much. I mean, there are people out there that may think otherwise about him, but I think he's the greatest thing that happened to our world in this century, I think. Because when I was a little boy, there are many questions that I had. My mother couldn't even answer them. And she used to be my teacher. I say my mother because I grew up with her. That's who I knew. You know, I had a dad. Yes, you don't come into this world without a dad. But not all of us are fortunate that way. You know, not all of us are fortunate to have a dad in our lives continuously. You understand? But my mother didn't know everything. But I had these questions about everything when I was a little child. And my mother couldn't answer them because she didn't know. She only taught me what was taught to her because they limited their thinking. They told them not to question most things. I remember growing up that way too. I was told not to question many things, you know, that things were what they are. But what makes us human beings is because we're able to think beyond ourselves. Someone can sit on Earth and think about what Venus or Pluto or Jupiter looks like without even being there. It's the greatness of the human mind. And these things are flowing to our heads, to our minds, all of us, every day. Don't ever think you're the only person that thinks that way. There are other people out there that think just like you. You just need to know them. When you know them, both all of you can be great. You know, there are powers within the human species. The only reason why we haven't explored them is because we don't know. But it doesn't mean that there are people out there that don't know. And those people out there that know, they are the ones that come together and put together these powers because they know. So the only reason why we're dying, the reason why we're perishing, is because we don't know. We're not trying to seek information because those people who spread disinformation, religious people, government, no, not religious people, again, I take it back, but it could be organized religious people. They spread disinformation too, just like the government. Any entity out there that wants to control the thinking of the masses spreads disinformation. And I think disinformation, my friends, is the greatest evil. I don't know where our world is going, but I don't think it's good. You know, who would have thought that America would limit this country, great country, government would try to limit information? I mean, that would be places like the ones they always point their finger to: North Korea, China, Cuba, all those communist countries, which I don't even think they're communist. They are the ones, oh, we are the good ones. Disinformation. When someone is living in a glass house and throwing stone at those other people that are living in the huts, are those people that are living in the grass houses or villages and saying they're primitive, they are not civilized, my friend, that right there is disinformation. You understand? So if you don't know what disinformation is, anything, anything that makes other people look bad and makes you look good, that's disinformation. When a religion can tell another religion that my religion is the way, yours, no. The only way you can get to that fake place is through my own religion, that's disinformation. And when that other religion can say, my own God or wherever I'm worshiping is the only way to wherever that place is, that's disinformation, my friend. When that other country can say our own form of government is the best form of government there is on the planet, yours is stink, yours is bad, yours is not good, my friend, that's disinformation. You understand? And you see that, my friend, in our world today. But whenever the truth comes into the mix, it scatters everything, it destroys everything. And that truth that comes into the mix, that's Yeshua HaMashiach, aka Jesus Christ. It's not a person, it's a consciousness. It's a level of consciousness that you get to. And then once you encounter that consciousness, you start to drift away from whatever the disinformation is. Nat Turner was different, but Nat Turner didn't know that there are other slaves that also think like him. They were just waiting for someone to show them that whatever they were thinking was the truth. That they had to move on, they had to free themselves from bondage. That whatever they were told as slaves were not right about them. that there were greatness to them. The day Dr. Sheikh Anta Diop discovered that Africa had great civilization, it was his goal and desire and destiny to prove that Africa was great. Africa is great. But disinformation has destroyed, has permeated the brains and the minds of millions of Africans. You watch them today on any given Sunday. They're praying to a God that does not even serve them. They're praying to a racist God that looks at all humanity and says that all of you are shit. That these people right here, this group of people are my favorite people. And you are nothing. And you sit and you pray to that God. Something must be wrong with you. And I think that's disinformation. The God I know, the Almighty. I don't say God. Humans are God. Humans are good and evil. Humans are Satan, the devil, and the gods that they are looking for. But we are not Almighty. The Almighty I know does not differentiate between races of people, color of people, thinking of people. He gave each of us gift to make this place our eternal home. So the idea that one race is superior than the other, is better than the other, says who? God? That's disinformation. And that's what I talk about today. Beware of disinformation. Right now, they are planning. Could be our government, could be those in authority, those in who has control, are planning to make the case for war with Iran. Says the ancestors. You have to be vigilant. You have to open your mind, open your eyes to see. So that way, disinformation does not mess with your emotion to give them another authority, another chance to start another forever war. Remember Iraq? Remember Afghanistan? This whole thing started right after 9/11. That's when we relinquished our rights in this country as American. But I say it's a good thing too, because Judge Bush did something after 9/11 that created all of the things. If you don't know this, without Judge Bush, what Judge Bush did, if it wasn't for 9/11 and Judge Bush's action to that, there won't be technology won't be as advanced today. You won't even know what social media is. I'm telling you, what Judge Bush did changed our world forever. I think Judge Bush is my favorite president because Judge Bush allowed us, the ordinary people, to understand what was happening. You remember right after 9/11, all the conscience thoughts, the people that were hidden in the dark, the light of our world, those people who were Jesus consciousness, they started emerging. People like Dr. Ray Hagin, people like that were speaking. I'm not going to even say doctor. I'm not going to call him doctor. Louis Farrakhan, because he's been talking forever. Just great people standing on principle and the truth. They started speaking out. But what I did, because technology wasn't as advanced before 9/11, it was slowly and slowly creeping to just booming. But George Bush made it possible. So, in the face of bad things, always believe that there are good things. But you don't want the bad. That's why none of us should be cheering for war against another culture, against another people, against another race. No. We should be on the side of peace and tranquility. So be watchful. so they don't play another 9/11 on you, because they are out there with disinformation. And what disinformation does is lead the masses to a direction where the matrix wants to control, because all of us are in the matrix. The world is like a matrix, but within the matrix there are people in there that are willing, that understand what's happening, and are willing to stand on principles, that are willing to stand on the truth, that are willing to sacrifice everything. Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, these are incredible human beings. Their beginning, their parents saw early on and moved them in the direction that they are today for our world. That's why, again, I go back to the beginning of this video. Parents, pay attention to your children. Pay attention to your children's greatness. The moment you see them, parents, you are the teacher. Your job is to teach your children. Don't expect someone to do that for you. Be the one to look at their abilities and those that are not their abilities. Your job is to filter out those things that will make them great. Because if they are better for you, they're better for society. If they're great for you, they're great for society. You understand? I used to spend a lot of time talking about Hitler, but I don't do that no more. Because I know the truth now. You know? There are a lot of people in history that said about terrible things about. But today you look at them, based on what you know and your research, you see what they stood on. Everything that was said about them was disinformation. This information is not new. And that's the essence of my video. Pay attention. Not everything someone says about a person, a people, a community, a nation, a culture, a religion, that's true. You have to be the one to do your research. Don't be in the dark. Judge Bush has allowed us to understand what was hidden from us. If it wasn't for Judge Bush, although that war was terrible, what happened to this country, 9/11, was terrible. Terrible things. I saw it. I was there. I was in New York. I saw it. I was in school when it happened. I saw the first plane when it flew into that building, and the second plane, because I was sitting right next to where all of that thing happened in my classroom. You understand? So I saw it. In as much as that was terrible, a loss of lives, it was lost. And subsequently after that, but that led to what we're seeing today. And I think more and more as our world progresses in terms of technology, good things are going to happen and bad things are going to happen. And in as much as we think social media is free, but I don't think going into the future is going to be. Free speech is going to be limited on there. Because those who have control will not allow the masses to be in control. They must always control the way you think, the way you talk, the way you walk, the way you behave. Anything you do, including the air you breathe, the food you eat, the medication you take, everything, the whole 9 yards, they must control you and your children too. So you are in for a big fight. We are in for a big fight. But it's always been the truth. And the truth will annihilate the disinformation, aka lies. Disinformation are lies about the truth. And the truth does not comprehend lies. The truth does not accommodate lies. The truth is meant or are meant to destroy every stronghold, every element of the lies, which are, my friends, disinformation. So, as I've always said, I want to thank you, especially those who consistently have remained subscribed to my channel. I want to thank you. I want to honor you. I hope you can engage more. You understand? I hope that you are out there and you are paying attention. I think you're wise for you to be on my channel because I'm not playing by other people's stuff. I'm not emotional. I tell you, if you want to be great, stay away from emotion. Emotion will lead you to your early grave. Emotion will destroy everything that you have going for yourself. Stay away from emotion. Be on the right side of history. Because those people who stood on the right side of history, they've always win. History remember the people who stood on the right side, who stood on the right side, not the ones that stood on the wrong side. Why is the History Channel often, always, all the time talks of Hitler? Why don't they talk about Joseph Stalin, the butcher of, he killed more people than Hitler? But why are they obsessed with Hitler? Have you ever asked that question? You know, for those of you who watch cable TV, why? You can't turn on, you cannot turn on the History Channel without seeing stuff about Hitler on there, because they know the truth. They know. And the truth often comes, it reveals itself in many ways. And you see in our world today, you will see the year of the truth will come and it will destroy all of the lies. Those are the two elements in our world: disinformation and the truth. So replace them. There's no Satan, there's no God. There's Almighty. But humans are God. And humans are the people that disseminate disinformation. And humans are the ones that disseminate the truth. So these two elements are constantly in conflict with each other. And that is our world. Who is going to win? Who do you think will win? Do you think disinformation will win? Or do you think the truth will prevail? If you think so, post your comment and say. But I just wanted to put it out there today. I've been chilling. I've been spending some time to myself and just contemplating on our reality. If what someone is doing out there, if it doesn't represent your reality, if it doesn't look like your reality, if it's not going to put food on your table, if it's not going to help you pay your bills, if it's not going to make your life better, do not consume that information. Again, do not consume that information. Look at it, do your research, and find the truth. That way, you will not be controlled, because those who runs this whole thing has control. They don't care about power. Power belongs to their minions, but control is what belongs to them. Again, I want to thank everyone. As I've always said, the greatest thing that could ever happen to you is not the day you were born, not the day you had your first car, the day you graduated from high school, college, the day you became a lawyer. The greatest thing that could ever happen to you is the day you discover yourself. Because from that day on, everything, my friend, will start to make sense to you, including understanding disinformation. Disinformation is the greatest enemy of mankind and is perpetrated by human beings and not the devil, organized religious people. And we're going to keep talking about it because we know you are the biggest disinformation outlet out there. And you got to stop. Speak the truth. The truth shall set you free. Thank you. I hope that you and your family are safe and are in good health. Bless, bless.